Welcome back to Off the Record, where I help you discover new artists and new music. I am super excited because we have two incredible guests coming onto the show today. First off, Charlie Pittman is here to talk about his newest EP, and Ryan Sapp is here to talk about his single. Two incredible guests that, I have been so excited for you to hear me sit down and talk to them. So we have that on the show today. But before we jump into that, let's talk about new releases. The girls carried through this week. Here are all the girly pops that dropped albums. Olivia Dean dropped The Art of Loving. Molly Grace dropped her album Blush. Doja Cat dropped her album V. Mariah Carey dropped an album. Just the girls came through. Let's talk about Olivia Dean first. This album is like Amy Winehouse meets Adele meets Stevie Wonder all combined up into one. There's so many beautiful influences you can hear when you go across the album. Let's not forget the leading single, Man I Need, was just an incredible job and truly has been. I think it would have been so good as Song of the Summer if it was released a lot earlier. It just has this fun, let me throw my hands up in the air, bounce around energy. And speaking about that energy, Molly Grace dropped her album Blush, was it is so good. It has that same energy that I got out of Short and Sweet, where you're like, oh, this is for the girls. This is like the bedroom pop album. Mariah Carey released her album, and it just has that classic Mariah Carey R&B sound that we can expect from her. But gosh, those were just all incredible. Now let's talk about an EP that doesn't fit into the girly pop vibe. Noah Richardson released his EP, It's So Good to See You. I've been talking about this EP all summer. I've gotten to hear it back in May, the first edition of it all, and it truly is incredible. If there's anything you go and listen to beginning to end this weekend, make it that. Make it that. Oh, also this came out a little while ago. Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham, one of my favorite albums. I've been spinning it like crazy. It just has that classic sound of Fleetwood Mac before Fleetwood Mac was Fleetwood Mac, if you know what I mean, when they were just doing their solo projects. So, yeah, I hope you enjoy these new releases. Welcome back to Off the Record, where I help you discover new artists and new music. I don't have any words to describe about how excited I am right now, because I'm sitting here with Charlie Pittman, who just released his newest EP, Okay Again. Charlie, how you feeling today?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
I really like to start out with folks and ask who their musical influences were growing up, because I really think it helps us paint a picture of who an artist is. So who are your influences?
Yeah, very early on, it was very acoustic guitar-based artists, Ed Sheeran, John Mayer, even like Shawn Mendes when I was like super young. Um, and then that shifted when I started playing live. I think I got into a lot more of like the band scene. You can hear in a lot of my music, there's like the 1975 and the band Camino, Holly Humberstone. Um, and then, yeah, I think there's a lot of other artists like um, even bands like Green Day, um, Coldplay, The Fray. So it's
Yeah.
a real eclectic mix, I think.
That's cool that you mentioned those, especially like the band Camino, because you can definitely get that energy across Okay Again. Like you feel that like rocker era really shining in your writing.
Definitely, 100%. I think just the way which we structure some of the songs, especially a song like Think Later, with the way we layered guitars and stuff, is very Camino inspired for sure.
Yeah. You do a lot of writing for other folks. What is that process like when you write for others versus yourself and vice versa?
It's interesting. I think I'm more disciplined when I'm writing for other people. I like very much structure the session, think about what we want to say in the verse, what we say in the chorus, and I really care about it. And not that I don't care about it when it's my own music, but when it's my own music, it's a lot more kind of free and loose. I kind of just like will sit there and kind of ruminate on an idea, and things will kind of naturally happen. I think when I'm writing by myself, especially. But yeah, when I'm writing for the people, I'm really just trying to get the best song I can out of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot more organic when it is just me, I think.
Has there been a song or even a lyric that you've written for someone else that you've sat back on and be like, dang, that was so strong. I wish I would have held on to that one a little bit?
No, I think with lyrics, I mean, sometimes I'm like, oh, that's a really cool lyric, but it's always because it's serving the story of that artist. I'm always like, that's a great lyric for
Mm.
your story. And even if I can relate to it, I never really feel like that. I think there's a couple of melodies I'm like, oh, that's a really cool melody. But I also just like really love the artists I write for and write with. So I'm always just like super proud.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the cool parts about your journey so far, but what doesn't define you is you were a runner up on The Voice. How has that kind of shaped your career to where it has gone to now?
Yeah, it just honestly the biggest thing it did was it gave me a platform that I
Mm,
didn't have before. It gave me that outreach to then share my original music. I think when I was on the show, I spent a lot of time talking about how I wrote for other people. I'm an artist as well. It wasn't just that I was
yeah,
a singer. Um, and so yeah, if I hadn't done the show, I probably wouldn't be living in Australia. I
wow.
probably wouldn't have got signed when I got signed. So yeah, it opened up so many doors. It was also just an amazing experience being able to kind of share my artistry with people in a way that I hadn't done before on a bigger stage.
Yeah. Is there any words of advice or anything any of the coaches said to you that have stuck with you while you've continued your journey?
I can't think of anything specific. I just remember it was a very nerve-wracking experience. I think because I knew it was TV and I knew it was reality TV. So if I mess up, it would make good TV. But I remember Guy, Sebastian, just before I kind of went on, before I did the semi-finals, I did Take On Me, and he just kind of said, "Hey, man, there's no pressure. Just like go out there, kill it. You're gonna be fine. Don't think about it too much. It's just a performance. 2 minutes to be done." So I think that kind of going on and not overthinking it is probably the
Yeah.
biggest thing I can take into it. I think when I go and perform live now, I really just think these people are here to see me, and they don't want to see me mess up. So
Yeah.
let's just go out there and have fun.
That's so cool. Well, let's talk a little bit about the EPOK again, which is a solid track list, like no skip on it. What was
Oh,
that
thank you.
creation process like of that EP? And what are you hoping folks take away from it?
Yeah, we had about I think we sat in a room and read about 30 songs for the CP, and then it was like, okay, how do we find six? And then how do we find a narrative through that? And interestingly, we found probably 7 or 8 songs, and then there was a couple songs I was deciding between. It was How I Feel and an unreleased song called Roadkill, and they're
Okay.
about the exact same circumstance. So I was like, okay, I can't put 2 songs that are about the exact same thing on the EP because people are going to get bored. So we chose How I Feel, which is interesting because I think How I Feel is probably my favorite song on the EP now. But
Really?
yeah, we sat with those 6 songs, and then it kind of just went in chronological order from the end of one relationship to the end of another. And I thought, how can I make this kind of interesting and kind of album-like as well? I think I
Yeah.
grew up on listening to albums, and I love listening to an artist kind of tell a story from song to song and listen to it in order. So, yeah, it was really important to me that I made something that it felt cohesive, I guess.
Mm. What are you hoping folks take away from the message behind the EP?
I think honestly, like I write these songs about my very personal experiences, but people always take away a completely different thing because they'll
Hmm.
relate to a different lyric, or they hold on to a lyric and think, oh, I didn't think about it that way when I wrote it. So honestly, I just hope it makes people feel something. I hope it makes people feel seen in a way, or it makes them feel a little less lonely, or it makes them feel like, oh yeah, okay, I can relate to that. I've been through that as well, and just feel like I said, yeah, a little bit more heard and seen.
Well, Charlie, you're on the road right now. You're doing the thing. We just talked about it. You're about to head over to the UK. What is a non-music hobby that you're enjoying right now that people would be kind of shocked to hear about?
A big one that we do, especially on tour, is Uno. We
Oh
love
man.
Uno. It's and also we have these like crazy street rules. So it's not any like basic Uno. We are playing
Yeah.
like street rules Uno. It's funny. I did a tour with my best mates, Loretta, back in December last year, and it was a co-headline tour, and it was 3 dates. So they headlined in Sydney, I headlined in Melbourne, and then we had to play a game of Uno between our bands, best of three, to decide who'd headline in
Wow.
Brisbane, and we won. Our band won. So I'm not gonna try and flex too much, but I think I'm maybe the best Uno player in the whole of Australia.
What's a role that you guys play by that others
But
don't normally?
the absolute best one, which introduced to me by my friend Junior, was say I put down like a yellow seven and someone opposite me had a yellow seven, they could jump in and snap on it and,
Love
and
that one.
skip everyone. So it makes you be on your toes all the time. It's not
Yeah.
just about the cards that are dealt. You gotta be quick with it. That's a good one.
That's so funny. Well, Charlie, it's my favorite part of the interview where I asked you to bring 3 songs from 3 other artists. What are those songs? And tell us a little bit about why you selected these.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 3 pretty new songs actually, and I'm
Great.
lucky enough that I live in Sydney, and there's just some incredible music coming out of Sydney. But it's hard sometimes to get music heard outside of Australia. So I'm going to shout out a lot of my friends who make amazing music.
I love
The
it.
first being Loretta, like I just talked about. They just released a song with KCH called "Good God." Um, it's just an incredible song. It's not your standard sort of pop song. It's
Okay.
rooted in sort of like early 2000s vibes. Got an amazing music video too, and just two incredible vocal, with some really cool lyrics as well. So, "Good God" by Loretta and KCH. Track two is going to be by an artist called Rage Flower, who's absolutely killing it in the Sydney scene at the moment.
Wow.
She has a song called Hot Glue, which is so good. It's kind of Bieber Doobie vibes, that
Ooh.
classic indie pop, indie rock world. But she is making amazing music. And the last song is a song called Where You Are by an artist called By J. I might be biased. I did help write it, but there's three other amazing artists on it, writers on it, and I think By J is just going to go absolutely crazy. He's got a song blowing up in Korea at the moment, but I think
Really?
he's destined for amazing things. He's one of my favorite artists. I even had him open for me in Sydney, and I just watched it. I was like, this is a gig I would go to as a fan. Like, he's just an
Dang.
incredible artist, and an artist who just really works hard as well. So
Yeah,
I really rate that. So yeah, they're my three shout outs to
that's
the Aussie
awesome.
music scene.
Oh, I can't wait to listen to him. Well, Charlie, thank you so much for coming on, spending some time with me. Again, congratulations on the new EP, but I hope everyone enjoys Think later. I needed something new. I need to know. Welcome back to Off the Record, a radio playlist where I help you discover new artists and new music. I'm super excited because I'm sitting here with Ryan Sapp to talk about his newest song, Sad and Insane. Ryan, how you doing today?
Isaiah, I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me, and I'm excited to be here today.
I'm excited to talk to you. I really like to start off each interview with asking a little bit about your background. And through that, I want to know, like, who were your music influences growing up and what were they playing for you?
Yeah, very cool. I started playing guitar at a really young age, and I only played guitar. I didn't start singing until I was like 13. And so I think growing up, it was like Slash and Eddie Van Halen because I kind of just wanted to be on like a rock stage.
Yeah.
And as I've kind of grown into the artist space and started singing, I think then it's kind of morphed into great singer-songwriters. Looking back, I always loved Frank Sinatra. I think I have a
Yep.
big affection for the oldies, but I think artists like John Mayer have been really great as I've been kind of transitioning from that guitar to artist space. And yeah, it's a lot of people that have shaped the way. It's hard to kind of name a few, but I have so
Yeah.
many like big influences where I'll just hear a song and like something will inspire something.
I always like to ask, do you remember what the first song you learned on guitar was?
That's a great question. I think because I started so young, I started at 5. It was probably like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. But there's a time in particular that I remember is when my dad knew a band that was playing at a local gig, and they asked me if I could come up and play the Hotel California guitar solo.
Oh
And
my
so
God.
that's like one of my first like performances that I remember is like this little kid with a guitar that's probably bigger than me, and I went up and played the solo with them. So that was so much fun.
That's so cool. You talked a little bit about being a singer-songwriter and some of those influences. What is your process like right now as a singer-songwriter?
Yeah, good question. I think right now I'm influenced daily by everything that's around me. So I think I try to find every situation that I'm in and see how that can become a song, whether it's witnessing a friend go through a breakup or watching social situations happen. Like I'm on a train and I see something happen. And I just try to take creativity from everywhere. I think I'm always writing stuff down. I have a notes list that's probably miles long of just ideas and things that I noticed that I can then turn into songs. And it also can come from internal reflection as well, just kind of into myself and how I'm feeling and what I've experienced and creating that and a genre of music that I like that's kind of shaping my artist sound.
Is there any lyrics of yours that you look back at often?
That's a good question. I think there's a lot of stuff that sometimes I'll go into like the vault of my notes app and just kind of be like, wow, I didn't know I wrote that, or I can't believe I was feeling this at that time. But I have a song called 18, and I think I'm a college student now, and I think that song's really relevant because I wrote that song about how it's kind of a scary feeling going to college, meeting a bunch of new people and moving away from home. And I think
Mhm.
as I'm in college now, every time I'm hanging out with my friends, I'm like, hey, wow, I was a nervous kid back then, but 2 years later, I love this experience. Everything's been great. So I think I reflect on that song the most because it comes up so much in my daily life.
Yeah. Where do you see your music heading in the next 5 years?
I would love to be signed. I would love to release an album or two one day. I think that'd be great. I have a whole catalog of songs, and I'm ready to put out a bunch of music. I would like to get involved, have my song in a TV show. I think would be really cool. Or
Is there anyone in particular that like comes to your head?
that's a really good question. I mean, I think there's like a really big the craze now is like a lot of the younger like teen shows like The Summer I Turned Pretty would be really cool. I know they've had a lot of good songs that they've kind of incorporated in there. Or if I had a song on Love Island, I think that'd be something that's like super
Yeah.
cool just because like I think being able to connect my music to like pop culture I think would be really nice. But yeah, I would love to get involved with a label and keep refining my skills as both an artist, but then establishing more, keep honing in on my sound and figuring out everything I can in terms of how to take this thing really as big as I can go.
Who are some of your dream collaborations?
Wow. It's going to take me a second to think about that, but I think I love so many artists. Like, I think there's a lot of like genre mixing, and I think you see that a lot now on stages more necessarily than release things. But like watching Leve like do collaborations, I think that's so cool. And I grew up loving jazz, so I love things like that. I I mean, I role model seems like a guy whose energy is
Yeah.
just off the charts. I'd love to write a song with Gracie Abrams. So I think there's so many like great artists now that I think being able to just kind of sit down, collaborate, songwrite with all that kind of stuff would be really fun.
Let's talk a little bit about your newest song, Sad and Insane. Where did the
Sure.
inspiration for it come from, and what would you hope audiences take away from it?
Yeah, so that song I just dropped about 2 weeks ago, and I wrote it about kind of looking back at yourself after a relationship. I mentioned earlier self-reflection and how I think that's very important. And I think Sad and Insane is a song where I'm recognizing that hey, I've changed after this relationship. And
Mhm.
sometimes it's not always for the better. I think sometimes there's winners and losers when you come out of a relationship. And this song focuses on the loser standpoint in that, hey, I've changed. I don't like, who I've just become. I was just altered by that situation. And now I'm kind of looking back and saying, this is my scenario. This is how I'm feeling. And then, eventually going to turn that into, something that's positive for myself. But in that moment, in that song, it's very much just me looking back at where I'm at right now after feeling so broken after a
Yeah.
situation like that.
And that's such a powerful message. And like you said, from the perspective of the loser,
Right.
like, that's something we don't typically focus on. It's always
Right.
who gained in the end. You know what I mean?
Right. So much in songs, it's bashing the other person, and it's, hey, I'm glad I'm on my own. I'm feeling powerful and all that. But sometimes even if the other person is not feeling like that powerful, somebody still is probably gonna feel, wrecked, and someone's probably had to adapt themselves for that person. But now that that's over, you've just been changed, and it's
Yeah.
good to kind of reflect on that, and that's kind of why I wrote the song.
I love that. Well, it's time for my favorite question. I asked
Sure.
you to bring 3 songs from 3 other artists
Yeah.
that you want to share. Feel free to explain a little bit of why you chose each of these songs.
Okay. Now, one of these songs isn't released, so I may have to give you an extra one if you like. But there's an artist called Joshua Sloan, and he's blowing up like incredibly much right now. But I've been following him for so long, and he's the most incredible songwriter and has such a great tone. There's a song he writes called "Your Place at My Place," and I think that was the song that kind of put him on the map in terms of social media scale. But I'm biting at the bit, waiting for his album to drop because I'm super excited for a release like that. But I guess if I were to say 3 released songs that I really enjoying right now, there's an artist called Yana. She
Okay.
has a song called "How Long," and a lot of her songs are very like just cool, laid back vibe. The grooves are really nice. A lot of cool banjo riffs in her songs, and her voice like flows over melodies really seamlessly. Let's see, and then I would say another artist that I'm really liking. There's an artist called Hudson Ingram. Uh,
Okay.
he has a bunch of good songs and what really good discography. And I kind of discovered him a few months back, and I really just like everything that he has going on. And then one of my boys that I met on through social media goes by the artist name Uat, and there's a song called "A World," and that song is really interesting because it's kind of like that when you're in a relationship and you realize like, or not even a relationship yet, but you're like, come on, like this is going to work out at some point, or I know there's some time where like we have to work out, but it's just not happening. That song's about that, and it's just really pretty. The production's super nice, so hopefully that's a good list right there.
Well, I'm super excited to listen to those. But Ryan, thank you so much for coming on and talking about the song as well as your work, and I really appreciate it. For now, everybody enjoy Sad and Insane. It is time for my segment, 3 New Artists, where I share with you 3 new artists you need to listen to. Now, these artists I hand selected today, I'm actually really excited about because they each have their own unique personality that makes them stand out as artists. It's not a sense of they're fitting a mold or fitting a cookie cutter. Like, these 3 I would listen to individually on their own, headline show easily. So the first one is Miles. Best way to describe him is like the real life Roderick. He is everyone Roderick from Diary of a Wimpy Kid wishes that he was. Like, it's this total grunge and rock vibe. A lot of the energy that I got from it was like that early Green Day meets Incubus sound, if that makes sense. Like, it's rock, but it's alternative. And then speaking of that grunge, it has that like classic 2000 sound behind it. So we're going to listen to that today. Then Kevin Walkman is just like this true coming of age artist. Like, the best way to lean into it, it's like Wallows meets Ban Camino. It's fun, it's poppy, but like the lyrics behind it like really drives home. And I've just been enjoying listening to his music, so I'm really excited for you to give him a listen today. And last but not least, it's Fedge, Fedge. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but that's how I'm going to pronounce it. The way he describes it is glittery pop, and I think that's a great way to use it. I say it sounds like an early Disney Channel original movie, like our Disney pop star energy type of music, like that Hannah Montana vibe. And it's just like has this like Jack Antonoff synth pop behind it. Like, you feel like you're listening to like a Chappell Roan track when you listen to it. So I hope you enjoy these 3 new artists. Thank you so much for listening to the show this week, and I'll see you all next.